Hey everyone, how you doing? Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on. Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, considering, it's been, I won't say it's been really hot in Omaha, but
Hmm.
it has not been fall weather by a long shot. I mean,
Right.
I can't get out of here till the tree in the backyard at least starts to drop some leaves so I don't have a big pile of leaves laying on my yard all year. And it hasn't even started to change color yet.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
all of the trees in the neighborhood are still green. Normally, by now, you can at least see some yellows and reds starting to peek through, and the leaves start to drop by the second week of October, but they haven't even started to turn yet. So we'll see
Mm,
how that goes. I am going to get out of here at some point this year, but it's not going to be in the next 2 weeks like I had originally thought.
maybe loading up the truck at like Christmas Day or something and traveling down then. Yeah.
uh,
Um, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. If you have any questions at all that you'd like us to address or any discussion points that you'd like us to get onto, please put a Q in front of it and let us know as you come in. Let us know where you're coming in from, and I'll flash your message up on screen. But yeah, Bob, you've eaten today already? You're going to make me hungry?
no, I'm not
You
going to
haven't
make you
eaten?
hungry. I haven't eaten yet today, and I'm not really hungry. I may or may not eat today.
Mm,
It's Wednesday. I've been I've been busy getting stuff done. Not that I have any videos put out to show for it. I've been really lax on getting videos out because I've been so focused on collecting things to build my car V with that I haven't had the energy
right.
to put out videos, but I've got something for tomorrow. I
Oh,
did
no.
see we already had a question up there, but it came in quite a bit before we went live. So if you find that question and then scroll down
Oh,
a couple of comments, you'll see that I already answered the question as best I can because it was somebody asking about SIBO. And
ah,
I don't know a thing about SIBO because that's not something I've ever had. But I
mm,
did do a quick YouTube search, and if you search for just SIBO in the YouTube search bar, Dr. Barry's video about it comes up about sixth or seventh down the list. But if you type in Dr. Barry SIBO, that video should come right up. And I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but like I said, I don't know anything about it.
mm.
How about you, Dave? Have you had any?
No, I don't know anything about it. All I know about it is who's that nutritionist that Bart used to talk about a lot? The one with the blonde hair.
Abby Sharp?
Abby Sharp. She's got persistent SIBO that never seems to go away, but I think yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
always talking about it, how she's going to cure it with vegetables, when I don't think vegetables are the cure. Um, yeah. So, Mark Van, how you doing? And Carnivore Hercules, how you Oh, okay. So we've got a question here, or I've got a question here from Mr. Beaumont. Hi, Dave. How's the knee? Um, I'm not sure what that's in reference to as far as if I've said anything recently, but my knee's fine. All good. Don't have any problems with it since I guess 2 or 3 months into my carnivore journey. Yeah, no problems with the arthritis in my knee at all.
I can tell you my ankle is still not great. I twisted it really bad. I was carrying stuff up and down the stairs and kind of did the miss the stair and slide down the stairs thing and twisted my ankle up pretty good. I went out and recorded a video like 4 days ago.
Mm.
I did a walking video, and that was probably a mistake. It is feeling quite a bit better now, so hopefully I'll get back out there and get walking again soon. But
right.
uh,
I hope it's feeling better soon. The feral grandma, he calls her Abby Not So Sharp. That's
oh
right.
yeah,
Abby Not So
yep.
Sharp.
Mhm.
The thing that always amuses me about her is when you watch her cooking videos, or when she's talking about how she's going to make something healthy, it's always about balance. And so she'll put
Mhm.
M&Ms into it, she'll put chocolate, she'll put all sorts of things into it, and she'll be like,
Mhm.
this is the healthiest thing for you because it's nice and balanced. Yeah.
Yeah, and you would think, I don't follow any of those people, so I don't know about her persistent SIBO that she's been having trouble with. But you would think that if what you're doing to try and cure something isn't working, that you would try something else. Maybe, I don't, I'm just guessing here because I'm not a doctor. I'm just an old retired truck driver. But I would have to say if something isn't working, you might try something else.
Right, right. If you're standing in the corner bashing your head against the wall and you realize that no matter how much you hit your head on the wall, it hurts, you probably want to try stop.
Mm-hmm.
You probably want to try, stopping smashing your head against the wall.
Yeah, or at least go to a different wall.
Right, right.
If,
Or
if the
try a
brick wall,
fence.
if the brick wall hurts too much, maybe try a drywall.
Yeah, try a fence or something. Although the picket fence might be a little bit dangerous. Okay, so Mr. Bowman, I saw a video of you talking about your knee recently and was going to suggest Ben Patrick if you ever get a recurrence of the pain. Heavily vouched for his methods. Thank you. I'll take a note of that, Ben Patrick. Thank you very much, Mr. Beaumont. And SOS, hi from Michigan, 120 days carnivore. Nice work.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Yeah. So, guys, as you are coming in, if you are on Bob's channel or you're on my channel, wherever you are, please smash the like button, and that'll help us get more people into the chat, because the more likes, the more YouTube will push this out to others. Oh, okay. SOS. Yesterday, Dr. Boz did a video about uric acid from High Carb Life and gout. And just like the oxalate dumping, the stored uric acid can come out and wreak havoc. I think that's what I got, but I don't know. Oh, yeah. Interesting. So you store it up and it starts coming out once you stop doing that kind of lifestyle. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, I don't know. I suffered with gout for 40 plus years, and I never had an after I started carnivore. I haven't had a gout attack since. So I wish I could answer that more intelligently, but I didn't have that problem.
Yeah. So this in the brackets there, it says High Carb Life. I'm just thinking about the channel, kind of the the alternate universe Superman kind of channel to my channel, so it's No Carb Life versus maybe Only Carb Life or something like that. What would the interviews be like on that channel?
Yeah, the sugar diet channel. There's a fad that went away in a hurry.
That kind of died before it got started, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody was talking about it for all of about 30 seconds, and then it just kind of went away because people started thinking about it, and they're like, well, it might actually work to help you lose weight if that's all you're after is dropping some fat, but the medical repercussions of dumping all those carbs in your body are just horrifying.
Yeah. So Rick saying never got gout. Yes.
Rick's never had anything except greasy hair, and he does that to himself with tallow.
And you know, I think it's important to point out, never got gout, and he's been carnivore for over 40 years now, right?
Yeah, it's after August, so it should be 41 plus now.
Right.
It
And
should be it should be like 41 years and a couple of months if I'm doing my math right, but I don't keep up with Rick that closely, do I?
um, Bonnie Vicari, thank you very much for becoming a member. Much appreciated. Okay, Feral Grammar. I watch lots of Bart K. He finds the people who insist on being wrong on the interwebs. I get the laughs. Yeah, I love his videos. You know, one of his best ones is really old one. He's reviewing this lady from the ABC on ABC Radio in Australia, and some of the comments he's got in that video and some of the responses to what she says are just, I remember watching it as I was on a walk a couple of years ago, and I was in stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his video where he was talking about Dr. Emma Beckett, I believe.
Okay. Yes, so have a look for Dr. Emma Beckett on his channel. That's yeah, very funny video. Okay, so A Kirby. I've been trying to go carnivore, but I have trouble gaining weight, and with the carnivore diet, I had even more of a hard time. What do I need to eat to gain? I'm only 64 kilos or so. So what's that, about 130 pounds, 140 pounds? Any thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, well, just eat a proper human diet, the correct carnivore diet: beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Um, because carnivore is not either a weight loss or a weight, or I should say, fat loss or fat gain diet. It's a health optimization diet. And what carnivore will do for you, in my opinion, as a retired truck driver, I can tell you that it will, if you have any excess body fat, you will shed that. But because of the protein content, you'll find that it's much easier to put on muscle, which is really what you want when you're trying to gain weight. You want to put on muscle so you're healthier. And having the protein in your system will make that easier, even at my age. I mean, I can tell I've put on a lot of muscle in the last year. I'm certainly not going to go out and win any bodybuilding competitions, and I'm certainly not going to be a heavy lifter, but for a 62-year-old that's never really done any serious weightlifting, I've managed to put on some fairly decent muscle. You know, for a 62-year-old. And that's really what you're looking for, trying to put on weight, is, you know, just like with losing weight. I mean, you know, if you want to just get heavier for the sake of being heavier, go ahead and go back to eating a standard American diet or a standard Western diet and eat a bunch of fat and sugar and donuts and all that stuff. And, you know, you'll put on fat, but I'm guessing that's not what you want. So stick to a proper human diet, eat carnivore, and lift heavy things.
I agree. The only thing I would maybe think you could try adding in is putting in some dairy and see if how you react to that. You know, I've heard some people talk about, and I've had the experience of if I eat cheese, then I put a little bit extra weight on, or keep the weight on. It was it the case at the time. But yeah, maybe add some cheese or some heavy cream or something like that, and see how you go with that. But yeah, I'd be interested as well. How tall are you? Because I'm about 5'8", and for me, 64 would be too low, but I'm pretty comfortable around 66, 67 kilos. So yeah, I'd be interested in how tall you are. 5'10". Oh yeah, so that is underweight. That's that's quite underweight. So yeah.
Well, it depends on how how you carry that as well.
Mm, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
but that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you probably do want to try and put a little bit on, but just keep lifting weights and eating a proper human diet. Your muscles will. You don't even really have to lift a whole lot for your muscles and your bones and everything else to build up some density.
Yeah. And judging by your photo that's on the screen there, you look, you don't look old. Like you're not like me. So, you've probably your metabolism's probably firing like crazy as well, and everything probably everything's working as it should. So yeah, weights, eat some dairy and see how you go, and maybe adjust the amount of times you're eating a day, make it later in the day when you eat, things like that. I would just test as much as you can. Okay. Mark Van, I lost 70 pounds on Carnivore, everything trending in the right direction. But a little over a year ago, I started a couple of lattes a day with just cream. A1C crept up, gained about 20 pounds back. It was very sneaky. Wow. Interesting. I guess the cream has. So I have some suspicions about things that coffee does as well, not just the cream part of it. I think the coffee can mess around with things a little bit as well. But as far as the weight gain, that's probably cream. But the A1C, it could be cream, could be something about the coffee, because when you have coffee, that's gonna increase your cortisol, which will, I'm pretty sure that'll mess around with your numbers. Any thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, my first thought on that is just the cream. Um, you may be one of those people that just can't do dairy.
Mhm.
I'm sure the lattes taste wonderful, but there are some of us, I'm one of them. I mean, I can tell I do like a little bit of dairy every now and then. I buy some really good cheese that every once in a great while I'll mix it in with my eggs or something else. And I can tell, even if it's just, you know, a small handful of Parmesan cheese sprinkled into a bowl of ground beef with some hot sauce to make it kind of like a spicy beef bowl with cheese. I can tell the next day that I had dairy. I just can. And some people just don't do well with dairy. I'm one of them.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Okay, it was a question up here. Just one second. Okay. Mr. Beaumont, have you guys got any experience advice for convincing family to try carnivore, as it would help their medical conditions, or are you apprehensive to suggest it as it's so contrary to the norm? Hmm, interesting. I find it tends to be person by person, because like there's people that I would go to that have known my eating history and that kind of thing, that would be very skeptical of anything I said because they know that history. So it depends who it is. Um, what are you thinking, Bob?
Oh, there's so much to talk about here. Um, First off, convincing a family member is really, really hard. One of the things that Dr. Barry talks about is powdered butt syndrome. If you're trying to talk to a family member who ever powdered your butt when you were a baby, you will never convince them of anything, because no matter how old you get, they will always see you as the person who powdered your butt when you were a baby.
Mm,
Other than that, family members and close friends tend to be the hardest. The only thing you can really do is lead by example and hope that they notice. You know, you might mention to them, but if they see you out doing stuff, you know, like I have a neighbor here that is mostly carnivore now because he has seen me go from heart surgery to walking up and down the street every day to cutting my own grass and doing all that stuff. And, you know, about 6 months ago, he stopped me outside and it's like, okay, Bob, I need to know what the bleep have you been doing because the results are amazing. And we sat down and talked about it for quite some time. But until someone is ready to listen, all you can really do is lead by example. Because of that contrary to the norm thing that we have going on, people aren't ready to listen until they've hit a certain point in their life. And it's different for everybody. But you just, all I hate to keep repeating that all you can do is lead by example, but that's really the best way is lead by example, and hopefully they see what you're doing now that's different, whether it be walking or doing your own yard work or lifting heavy things or whatever it is, and they go, you know, they didn't used to be able to do that. Maybe I should ask them what they're doing. You know, in passing, you know, some of the sneaky things you could do if they have a certain medical condition and you spend time with them, you could take a Dr. Barry or a Professor K video that is dealing with that particular condition and have it playing in the background so that they might hear some of it. But other than that, they're just, it's hard. It's one of those things that as a carnivore influencer, you struggle with daily because there just isn't any way to convince somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It comes down to like the push versus pull kind of negotiations or persuasion, you know, and it's much easier to pull someone towards something than push them. Like where the pull is just leading by example, whereas the push is kind of like the nagging part of it, or the, you know, talking to people part of it. And often people are not very influenced by push negotiations or persuasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing you can try is just say, hey, look, I might be completely and totally crazy, but you've tried everything else and it hasn't worked. Let's go to the store, get you some beef, some butter, some bacon, and some eggs, and just try it for 30 days and see how you feel. If you don't feel any better or any different at all after those 30 days, it's not like 30 days is going to give you heart disease or make you worse. But what if it actually does make you feel better? You could try something like that.
That's a good way of approaching it. Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, you could do anything for 30 days. Heck, if I had to, I could probably stand on my head for 30 days. Well, yeah. Maybe not that, but you get the idea.
Okay. Triple L33. Hi from Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia. It's hard to convince family and friends that carnivore is what they need. I have been able to get off 6 meds that I had been taking for 10 years and lost 23 kilos. It's about 50 pounds.
Yes.
And they still think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because it's like if you're told a particular thing from when you are a baby, basically, anything that opposes that viewpoint is going to seem crazy, you know, because you've been told by everybody since you were in that high chair that this is the way to do it, to eat vegetables, to do this, to do that. And so it's very hard to get people to see that it's not a crazy thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, well, look at one of the biggest things, one of the biggest lies that has been told to us since, I mean, even when I was fresh out of the Army in my early 20s and all of that, we knew as a fact at that time that high cholesterol causes heart disease. And you want to keep your cholesterol down, or you're going to get clogged arteries and you're going to have all kinds of problems when you're older. Well, guess what? They're wrong. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease, but it's all of these things have been so programmed in since, for the last 30, 40, 50 years and more, that it's very hard to convince somebody of anything.
Yeah. Mr. Beaumont says it's very difficult when almost the entire world throughout all of human history is telling them that you're a psycho. Yeah.
And I wanted to get your opinion on along those same lines, Dave. Did you see that list that came out of misinfluencers that are supposedly by the My Plate people, or the World
Eat Lancet?
Yeah, the Eat Lancet people, and Dr. Baker is enemy number 1 and Dr. Berry is enemy number 3.
Yeah.
And they're putting on the full court press because we are starting to have an effect. More and more people are listening.
Yeah. See, that's the point that I think is really important to emphasize. It's a little bit scary when you see like this covert investigation has been going on and all this kind of thing, right? But I would say there's two things going in our favor. One, the data seems to be a little bit old, like they started this a long time ago, and they were worried about it back. And the second thing is they were worried about it back then. So if they're worried about it, that's a good sign that we're making inroads. Because if we weren't making any inroads, they would just go, well, who cares? Ignore them and they'll go away. Right? Kind of like the sugar diet or something like that. Ignore them, they'll be gone in a couple of weeks. Forget about it. But the fact that they're so paranoid I think is a good sign for us.
Yeah, because they're having an impact. People are eating less sugar. They're switching to more natural foods, whether it be a carnivore diet or a more, basically they're ditching the highly processed foods, regardless of which side of the natural diet you're on. They're ditching the highly processed, highly profitable foods for better choices. Because do I think a vegan diet is healthy? No, not at all. But if you're going to compare it to, if you're going to eat I hate to say whole food plant-based diet, because plant-based foods are not whole foods. But if you're going to get rid of the cornflakes and the Pop-Tarts and the donuts and all of the other stuff, and start eating broccoli and cauliflower and, heaven forbid, kale. But yeah, I know. Kale is one of the most versatile vegetables out there. It will fit into almost any size trash can. But you're going to get healthier for a while, ditching the processed food. And that's the thing that's really starting to permeate Western culture, is that these bagged, boxed, and packaged foods are terrible for us, regardless of which side of the aisle you follow for your dietary recommendations or plans or whatever. Everybody, that's the one thing we can agree with anybody in this space on, is that the highly processed food like slop is the worst thing in the world you can eat.
Yeah.
And that's the message that's getting through out there and has all of these big corporations running scared.
Yeah. You can just imagine them, like people are waking up to the fact that this is not good for them. We need to start some campaigns to make them look like they're lying. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting something done when they start labeling you as misinformation.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's very well said. Yeah. Okay. Papa Carnivore, how you
Papa
doing?
Carnivore's here. Woohoo! We need a little, a confetti thing,
Fireworks or something.
fireworks or a confetti thing when people like him show up.
Jeannie, while people keep trusting doctors, you've got no hope of changing them. Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay. Scott Wood, I'm 65 and living large the past year, retired and in good health. Nice.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. So AKB, what about cholesterol levels eating all meat? Could I get a cholesterol test to check? Well, you can get that on your blood work, yeah. But your cholesterol levels may go up, but it's not really from the meat. It's more from the way energy is trafficked around your body. And what will happen is your triglycerides will typically go down. HDL will probably go up a little bit, and your LDL may go up a lot, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's because your body's controlling what the cholesterols need to be at any given time. I'm probably not explaining that very well. Do you have a better way of putting that, Bob?
Well, the thing that everybody wants to do is check their cholesterol. I have an interview with Professor K on my channel, but if you go to any of Professor K's videos, he will explain it very clearly that cholesterol is controlled by our genes. If cholesterol were bad for us, why is it encoded into every single cell in our body? And 90% of our cholesterol, our serum cholesterol, that's the cholesterol in our blood, is made within the body. Our diet has very little to do with it. And I have to give credit where credit is due. This is one of Dr. Fruit and Honey Boy, Paul Saladino's arguments that he made with somebody once. And, you got to give him a round of applause for what he said. If anything floating in the blood was a problem and caused a disease process like atherosclerosis, then why doesn't it show up except in very specific spots on the high pressure side? People don't get atherosclerosis in their veins, yet it's the same cholesterol and same everything else floating around in your veins. If you really want to know, yes, you can go get cholesterol tested in your blood work, but just remember, the current guidelines are designed to sell you statin medications. If you were to go into your doctor's office 40 years ago and they ran a cholesterol test and your total cholesterol came back at 400, they would not even bat an eye. But as more and more medications become available that will do different things to what is floating around in your blood, they have come up with more and more tests and tighter guidelines, not to make you healthier, but to sell you more drugs. Because there is one very large meta-analysis out there that Professor K talks about a lot. He puts the graph up. You can find that graph on one of my videos, January 4th, 2 years ago. I was talking about this when I lost my balance on the trail and actually made that falling down the hillside video, because it wasn't on purpose, but I just happened to have the bob cam on. According to this meta-analysis, that's just a little one. It's 168 countries with over 6 billion data points. That's billion with a B. comparing against the one thing that you can compare against that cannot be fudged. That's all-cause, because you can't fiddle with that. Either somebody is dead or they're not dead.
Mm-hmm.
And versus all-cause mortality, the lowest point on this chart was at 220 millimoles per deciliter. As you got higher than that, the all-cause mortality line went up very slowly. And that could be because very few people, it's a lower data set because very few people have a consistent cholesterol higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
However, on the inverse side of that, as you drop below 220, the all-cause mortality line shoots way up. It's very clear by that associative data set. I can't say cause and effect because it's just a meta-analysis of associative data sets. But the lower your cholesterol, according to this association, the higher all-cause mortality gets.
Mm. Yeah.
I hope that answered your question, probably way more than you wanted to know.
But yeah, it always strikes me as interesting how cholesterol was basically, if we believe the paradigm of the mainstream medical establishment and the pharmaceutical companies, as humans, we were walking around with a time bomb in our bodies until the 70s or the 80s when they came out with statins. And, the only thing that was going to fix that time bomb was a random collection of people that established pharmaceutical companies. It makes absolutely no sense. And why would we be the only species with this time bomb? It makes no sense unless there are other contributing factors, and it's nuanced, and it's actually a lot more to do with the ultra-processed food that we're eating interacting with that cholesterol and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for your question, A. Kirby. Okay.
But it's a good question. Thank you for that question.
Very good question. Oh, okay. From Emma, my LDL went up to 700s last time doing keto, but I still feel great without the statin the doc prescribed. Yeah, that's also another thing. When your cholesterol does go up, you tend to feel better, assuming, again, you're not eating ultra-processed food. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's almost like your cell membranes are made up of 50% cholesterol, and your brain is 35% cholesterol, and your nerves are made up of 30+% cholesterol, and so on and so forth. Cholesterol is a pretty important thing.
Yeah. Cordelia, how you doing? Thanks for dropping by.
And we have sparked a lot of really big comments I'm seeing over there. Whether or not they're questions, I can't tell because I can't read the small screen.
Yeah. Okay. So Lamb says, your LDL cholesterol needs to go up to traffic the lipids through the body. It's the transporter of fatty acids by the absence of dietary glucose. A good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that rings true for me, just in my own experience, is the hypothesis that Dave Feldman and Nick Norwitz have come up with, the lipid energy model. That rings true for me. The less I eat sugar, the more I fast, that kind of thing, the more my cholesterol goes up, the more my body seems to be trafficking that energy around because it needs it.
Yeah, they did not do a very good job of explaining their lipid energy model, but it does ring true. I mean, The lipid hypothesis that we've been working on for the past 50 years is obviously wrong, because since we have more statins and more other drugs, they can actually get your LDL down into the single digits if they want to. Well, you would think if that was the problem, that heart disease would have disappeared, yet it continues to rise in this country. But the lipid energy model put forth by Dave Feldman and Nick Norwitz and that whole group of people, even though they did a poor job of explaining it, it does make sense that as your body needs and uses less and less glucose and more fat, you need more cholesterol floating through your body to do the things that it does. And how do lipids and cholesterol get through the body? Well, LDL.
Yeah. Papa Carnivore is just replying to Mr. Beaumont. In the early days, I tried telling everyone about Carnivore like an evangelist, but it just pissed everyone off. No, now I just act as a shining example of good health. Yeah, the best way to go. And he follows up, if my family or friends want to know why and how I'm so thin and healthy, I'm glad to tell them. Yeah, and then when you're reacting to their questions, it's a lot easier. They're going to be more receptive because they're initiating the conversation, right? Okay. Da da da. Okay. Yeah. So the Church of LDL. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So, what I find scary is there's so many doctors online talking about, or cardiologists talking about how you need to get your LDL as low as possible. Like if it's above 60, you're laying down plaque and stuff. And it's like, well, if people are laying down plaque because their LDL is so high, why, when you actually examine a plaque, is there so little cholesterol in there?
Yeah, about 5% by volume.
Yeah, but it's kind of scary when like your brain needs cholesterol and people are saying, get your LDL down to 50. If it's above 50, you're going to die. And it's like, well, okay, but if we get it down to 50, aren't we creating a generation of people who are going to develop dementia and other conditions? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole, it goes back to what we've been talking about pretty much this whole stream, is that we're fighting against 30, 40, 50 years of bad science, misinformation, because the science has been controlled. The science has been controlled by the pharmaceutical companies and big food for so long that most people don't really understand what's been going on. And until you spend all of the time that most of us in this space and those watching us today have spent examining all of the stuff that's gone on over the last 50 years, you just don't understand, because it's hard. I mean, when I started this diet, when I first found Dr. Barry, I thought he was absolutely insane, because I knew as fact, because my doctors had told me as fact since I got kicked out of the Army because I had gout, that red meat and meat in general causes gout. I knew it as a fact. And I also knew as a fact that if you want to lose weight, all you have to do is eat less and move more. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple, except it's not. But we have been that has been pounded into us for so long. Red meat causes gout. Just move more and eat less and you'll lose weight. Well, no.
Eat less and move more is one of the most irritating things that doctors ever said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, actually, for me, one of the most irritating things that doctors repeat all the time is you just have to have a balanced diet. It's all about balance. And
Yeah.
it irritates me so much is because it's like a get out of jail free card for doctors, because who defines what balance is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Lambs makes a good point. Without LDL, we die within minutes.
Yes, absolutely. Because you have no way of getting cholesterol around the body without LDL, which is actually not cholesterol. It's low density lipoprotein is what LDL stands for. And it's, think of it, for those that are just tuning in and haven't been studying this for a while, think of LDL and HDL as submarines that carry sailors under the water.
Mm.
They collect the cholesterol and other lipids and drive them around your bloodstream, taking them where they need to go.
Mm. So Aisha, Dr. Berry has mentioned that many people who have heart attacks have normal LDL or have been on statins for a long time. If LDL caused heart attacks on its own, they would have high LDL. I agree. But see, here's one of the other problems that we have with mainstream medicine, right? So they will say that if you take statins, then you're going to lower your LDL, extend your life, all that kind of thing, right? And then if you say, but these people were on statins for a long time and they had a heart attack, and then mainstream medicine would say to you, oh, it was all the damage that was done before they started taking statins. You know, they just constantly move the goalposts so that, you know, they're never questioned, or they're always the holder of the information.
And they don't want you to listen to somebody like me who has had a triple bypass surgery. And since having that surgery and going carnivore, because when I got out of the hospital from my surgery, my ejection fraction was in the tank. And I was very close to still, even after the surgery, in very close to total heart failure according to the ejection fraction numbers. And year over year since starting carnivore, my ejection fraction numbers have gone up. And my coronary artery calcium score has gone down.
Mm.
If they're right and I'm wrong, please explain that.
Mm. I'm sure they'll have a goalpost moving gymnastics type of answer for you there, Bob. But yeah.
Yeah, they will. They'll have some kind of mental gymnastics to
Yeah.
explain it. But
Yeah. Very good point from SOS here. Been my observation, low-fat diets lead to mental illness, anxiety, depression, and worse. Eat a big plate of eggs and feel better in the head. This is a good point as well, right? Before low-fat diets were the thing in the, I don't know, when it started, the 80s, the 90s, how many people were on drugs for mental illness relative to now? You know, like they're giving them out like candy.
yes.
And if people are getting sicker, we should probably look at what they're doing. And one of the problems over the last few decades has been low fat. Okay. Dr. Mike, are there supplements a carnivore should take?
It depends on where you live and what you're eating. I know that sounds like a cop out answer, but there are certain minerals that are absent in our food supply right now that were not absent 40 or 50 years ago. Because if there's no iodine in the ground where the cows are grazing, then they won't have any iodine in their system.
Mm.
just to be safe, I do supplement a little bit, but most of what I do is I use Redmond's Real Salt, which has lots of different minerals in it that are could be missing. And then a couple of times a week, I take Dr. Berry / Keto Chow's daily minerals. I don't take the full serving and I don't do it every day because that would be expensive and I don't feel like I need it. I feel fine. But as a just in case, I take a little bit of that a couple of times a week and I add a few drops of iodine to my morning drink a couple of times a week.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just been electrolytes and iodine. And I make a point of the iodine, even though I live in a country that doesn't have an iodine problem because they eat so much seafood, and nori and stuff like that. I don't. Like I don't eat much seafood at all. And so I take some iodine for that reason. Okay. Main runner. I have 2 events this weekend, a wedding on Saturday and an adult birthday party after my race on Sunday. Can't wait to see if anyone mentions my appearance. It's my in-laws. I don't see them often. That's always awesome when you see a lot of people that you haven't seen for a while, and it's like you look so much thinner or so much different to last time they saw you. Yeah.
Yes. I hope you get fantastic comments because you deserve it.
There's a nice comment from George. Balanced diet, balance between fat and protein. Yes. Very nice.
For me, a balanced diet is a ribeye in this hand and a ribeye in this hand. It keeps me balanced.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Questions. Any questions? Oh, I haven't read this, but more than 30 years ago, a margarine-sponsored diet program gave me hypolipoproteinemia anemia. I lost 10 pounds and felt worse than ever. Like, F this. Being carnivore of 1.5 years, will never look back. Nice. Carnivore Steve?
Excellent.
Yeah. Wow. Hypolipoproteinemia. Wow. What a mouthful that is.
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds really bad. It's certainly got enough letters in it to be a really bad thing.
Yeah. Anything with that many syllables can't be good.
Right. Now that is truck driver. That is retired truck driver science for you. Sorry, but anything with that many letters in its name can't be good for you.
Yeah. Frank, what would you do if your cardiologist tells you you're very high risk for heart attack, stroke because you have X% blockage in your heart and must take a statin because your LDL is off the chart?
Well, I would ask my cardiologist what makes you think that taking a statin will make that blockage get better, because it doesn't.
I think, actually, I think what you just said there, Bob, is one of the really important parts of what we typically don't do with doctors is you need to, it's not necessarily push back, but you need to ask questions to get them to justify their logic. Because when you first read what I just read there, you kind of go, yeah, well, okay, so yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Maybe I will take the statin, right? But it's just because this kind of thing's been repeated so much that we just kind of, you accept it as, oh, well, it's just something we have to do. But if you actually start asking questions and asking the cardiologist to justify what they've recommended, I would imagine in most cases, the cardiologist won't actually have the wits about them and the resources available to them to actually be able to justify it.
Because there is no justification for a statin. To quote Professor K, I will say that a statin is a contraindicated metabolic poison. Now, to go over the little bit of science that's out there, doctors don't really know any better. They're going to tell you what the drug rep told them, and that has been the standard thing, depending on whether you're talking about Lipitor or some other one. They're going to tell you that taking this drug reduces your risk by 36 to 50%, depending on which drug it is. But that's the relative reduction. The actual reduction, if you look at it, is a difference between a 0.5 instances and a 1.0 instances. And then if you multiply that out over a standard 100-year lifespan versus those that aren't taking statins, you will take a statin for your entire life and maybe get an extra day or two of life out of it based on the hard numbers of 1.0 versus 0.5. And during all that time, you have to deal with all the side effects that come with statins. And it's now believed that the little bit of so-called risk reduction that you get from taking a statin is the unintended consequence of that type of medication has been shown to reduce inflammation slightly. Well, if you get rid of all of the other things that cause inflammation in the body, I think eating a steak is a much better idea than taking a statin.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. What do I know? I'm just a retired truck driver.
Agreed. And Liz from Carnivore Science, got to go full Karen mode on the docs. Yes. Agreed. Okay. So we're almost at the 1 hour mark. Let me just look at Mr. Beaumont's comment here. Statistical fraud and gaslighting, which makes people think they don't have to make other dietary adjustments, which keeps them walking down the wrong path, is criminal. Yep. Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. And was it Mark Twain? It was somebody, I think it was Mark Twain, but don't quote me on that. Somebody said that there are 3 types of lies in the world. There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics.
And just to emphasize what you said before, Bob, Aid is saying, know the difference between absolute risk and relative risk. And I think that is super important, because the funny thing is, your cardiologist, when they're recommending statins, probably doesn't know the difference. And is just repeating the relative risk number and going, oh, well, 30% risk reduction.
Yeah, but then if you look at the actual so-called studies that they did and look at the hard numbers and run those out over, an actual 100-year lifespan versus, per person in the study, you'll find that, that so-called 30% difference is the difference between like a half of a person over the 100-year period. I mean, it might be statistically significant, but it's clinically insignificant.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting conversation today on LDL and statins and stuff. Yeah. Well, we're out of time for today, but thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for your chats and questions, and for listening to us each time we come on. Really appreciate your time. And Bob.
Yeah, This is one of my favorite hours of the week. It's actually only every 2 weeks that Dave and I get together and do this, but this is one of my favorite time blocks. I love spending time with you guys, sitting here just talking about whatever it is you guys want to talk about, because Dave and I do not plan anything. We just go live, and whatever happens to pop up in the comments is what we talk about. The only thing I would say to you is remember, get out there, be 1% better today, tomorrow, and every day.